All right, so a lot of clients come to me with sciatic pain, and it's not uncommon, especially for those who sit all day at a desk, 9 to 5. The sciatic nerve, it gets pinched between a bunch of different muscles in the hip capsule and whatnot. But the key to relieving some of this pain is a good posture. But while you're working on good posture, and that is keeping your chin tucked, your rib cage tucked, and your glutes slightly squeezed before you sit down, and not sitting super tall with your chest up, because that's not really good posture. The rib cage down kind of brings your spine into a straight line, okay? So that's good posture. We'll talk about that maybe a little bit later. But to relieve some of the pain from sciatic is you're going to grab a foam roller, preferably one with the little nubs on it. This is a really good foam roller. And you're going to roll your glutes, your hamstrings, and your lower back. Now I'm just going to show your glutes for the sake of time here. So you're going to sit on the roller. You're going to sit on the roller here and slowly take about 3 paths or 3 travels here, or trips along your glute, okay? So I'm sitting on it with all my weight down on those little nubs. A little bit painful. I'm used to it now, but when you first get on this, it's going to be quite painful, but it's okay, because in time you're going to feel a lot better. So I've started the movement, and I'm really moving slow here from the bottom of my glute up to the top. Now, if you feel any kind of pressure point or point that's really sore, I want you to stop and hang out at this position. And once you've hung out for, I don't know, about a minute or two, pick up your leg and just kind of move your leg and oscillate it around a little bit, back and forth, up and down, and you're going to feel your muscle kind of tightening and relaxing in certain movements. And that kind of stretches out the fascia or pulls apart the fascia. The science behind that is still a little bit shoddy, but this is kind of what helps to relieve some of that pain. And then once you've kind of worked that for about a minute or so, continue going up your glute, and hopefully you can see this. I'm looking at the camera here, and I'm kind of searching for the roller, but I think you can see it. And when you get to the top, especially with people with sciatic issues, this is probably where it's going to be a little more painful, up in the upper glute area. So again, slow, and you can move around a little bit until you find an area that's really tight. And when you find it, again, you're gonna hang out, which I found right now. And I'll move my leg up and down a little bit, and I'll oscillate it back and forth. And I'll do this for about a minute or so and really get in there. And you can do the same for your lower back and for your hamstrings, okay? So you want to make sure you put as much weight on the roller as you possibly can. If I was going to do my hamstrings, I pop myself up, take my right leg, put it on top of my left, and raise my left foot off the ground. That way, all my weight is on my hamstring, and I'm moving slowly back and forth. About 3-4 trips up and down the muscle. And again, I found a spot right there. So I would move up and down with this leg. This one's a little bit tougher. I move side to side with my thigh here, just trying to get the muscle to release, okay? So that's the foam roller. Now, this next one is going to be using a bench here. Now, you can use a couch if you're at home. Pretty much anytime I'm watching TV, I have a ball or a roller in my hand. So I never just sit and watch TV. I'm always doing something to help my mobility out so I can perform better in the gym and basically live and walk around pain-free. So what I'm going to do is bring my feet up onto the couch. I'm going to lie back. You're going to take the ball and place it just on your waistline there, and then roll on top of it. Now, because you don't have another ball on the other side, so there's no ball on my right hip, your hips have a tendency to kind of drop to the right, so you have to stay engaged with your core so your pelvis is parallel to the ground. So that's the only thing you really have to focus on maintaining. And then from here, you're just going to roll side to side. Now, the floor is slippery, so this wasn't the best floor to do this on, but if you're on a carpet or a yoga mat, it'll roll just fine. And you're going to roll side to side here from the spine and away, back and forth. And when you do that 10 times, we'll just move the ball down a little bit lower. And again, you're going to go side to side. Okay, again, this floor sucks, so I apologize. But you'll get the idea here. And you can travel down all the way until you get to your tailbone, okay? So that's, and if you feel more pain on one side, you can stick to that side. If you want to do both, that's fine as well. Now, the other thing I have here is a double tennis ball. Now, tennis balls come in a pack of 3, so this is good. You have the single, and you have 2 here that I just taped up with hockey tape, okay? Now this one's gonna basically, let me come up here and explain this. This one's gonna surround your spine. So if this is my spine, tennis ball is gonna go on either side of my spine to kind of get the muscles on either side. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set up just like I did on the bench here, start a little bit higher up on my back, cross my arm, or sorry, no, I'm gonna keep my arms apart, and my feet are gonna be apart. I'm just gonna rock side to side. So every time I rock to one side, all my weight kind of goes into that area onto this tennis ball. And it's kind of like, it's basically all this is just poor man massage, okay? So it's maintenance. So here's how this one looks like. So I'm gonna put this kind of like thoracic spine, mid-back. So when you lie back, keep your tension in your abs so your hips don't drop too much. Your feet are apart. And just gonna sway to your left with your right knee. So all the weight comes on that left tennis ball. And then sway to the right. So all the weight goes on the right tennis ball. And we'll just go back and forth for a total of 10 times each. Okay? Not too fast. And again, you're just making sure that you're not dropping your hips to the ground to create that arch in your back. You don't want to do that. So you want to try and pop your hips up a little bit so you have a little bit of tension in the core. And you're going back and forth. Once you've done 10, we're going to take the ball and go down a vertebrae. Do the exact same thing. So we'll go 10 to the left, 10 to the right. Okay, so we'll say 7, 8, 9, and 10. And you're just going to do the exact same thing you did with the single balls. Work your way down as low as you can get. And this is also going to loosen up the musculature that's surrounding your spine. Once you're done that, you can actually stay on top of your couch if you want. And I'm going to have you do is bring your feet up, and with your hands you're going to kind of bookend your knees and push out with your knees and in with your hands. Take a deep breath and go ahead and resist. So nothing really moves. You're just kind of balancing the tension there. You're going to hold it for like 5 seconds and then relax. You'll do that 3 or 4 times, and then we'll move the hands inside, or you can do a double fist here, inside your knees, and you're going to push in with your knees and push out with your hands. Okay, so same thing, about 5 seconds. And then the last one is you're going to take your left hand and put it on top of your knee, your right hand and put it on top of your thigh, and you're going to push forward with your right hand and pull back with your left hand. So you're kind of creating that shearing kind of effect. Same thing, about 5 seconds. And then relax, and then you're going to switch. So the right hand will go on top, left hand will be on the thigh. You're going to pull back with your right, push with your left, and hold that for about 5 seconds. So do each one of those for about 3 or 4 repetitions. And what we're trying to do is just try to realign the musculature after you've done all the foam rolling and the ball work, okay, or the tissue manipulation, trying to get your spine back into alignment. All right. That's your tissue breakup. We're going to go into a stretch here in a second. Okay, so what we've done here is basically I just moved in front of here. If you're using this at home as your couch or a love seat or a chair, you're going to put your knee into the cushion. Okay, so we're going to work my right side here. So your knee goes into the cushion, your shin goes up against the backrest, and this front foot is on the ground. And this knee is going to be slightly bent. What I want you to do is really focus on squeezing this glute. Pull your chin back, pull your rib cage down, so you get a good stretch here in your TFL and your quad, keeping that glute nice and tight. Okay, so you want to make sure you have that tightness in your glute to keep everything nice and aligned. Now, if this is not intense enough, you're going to do is bring this left foot up onto the couch as well. So I don't have anything to hold on here. So if I had like a love seat, or if I had a couch, I could use the back. I'd bring this foot up onto the cushion, the seat cushion, and hang on. And it's going to provide a little bit more of an intense stretch. You can also do this down on the ground against the wall, where the floor meets the wall. Okay, so this is a good stretch. Again, keeping that glute nice and tight, and you can do both sides. Okay, so now we're going to go for a stretch when you're all quadruped or on all fours. And this is going to be the first of a hip stretch. So what I want you to do, I'm kind of go up an angle here, is going to be on all fours. So your knee is directly underneath your hip. Okay, so you have perpendicular to the floor, and your hands or your arms are also perpendicular to the floor. I have a wrist injury, so I can't really get my hand in that position. So please excuse if my hand is not quite perpendicular. Okay? So you're going to be in this position, and what I want you to do, I'm just going to come forward so you can see my knee here. With your right knee, I want you to lift it up, okay? And with your left foot, kick it across. So see what I did there? Everything's straight. You just kick that left foot across, and now with your right knee, you're going to come down and pin that left shin in place. You can even, if you wanted to, you could push forward with that right knee and bring this left foot forward. So I hope you can see that. I'm going to come on this side as well so you can see it. So if I was going to lift my left leg up this way, right foot comes underneath, and then your left knee comes down and pins that right shin, okay? From here, what you're going to do is just push into the ground with your left hand, trying to push that right hip through the skin. Not going to happen, don't worry. But just try to envision pushing that hip through the skin and get that good stretch. Now you can hold it for a bit. You can kind of rock back and forth once you've held for a little bit, and then oscillate a little bit and really try to like separate the hip capsule or the thigh from the hip. Okay, we're trying to create some movement and some range of motion here. And then you're going to switch and do the other side. So I'll come up with this leg, I'll kick the left foot over, I'll pin the right knee, and now I'm trying to shoot that left hip over as far as I can. I'm going to push into the ground with my right hand and get as far over as I can. I'm going to hold this. And then you can kind of rock back and forth a little bit, side to side. And then oscillate if you want. So this again, this will take you like about 1 minute to 2 minutes on each side. So hang out there for a while. Remember, you guys sit all day long or whatever, if you wear heels, you do this constantly over the course of your lifetime. You just don't want to sit in a stretch and only stretch for like 10 seconds. So sit there. I know it's uncomfortable, I know it's painful, but the more you do it, if you do it daily, like brushing your teeth, eventually these tissues will start to go back to the way they should be, more supple, okay? So that's your work for the sciatic. You have your foam rolling and your ball work, you have your couch stretch or your chair stretch, and you have this quad stretch.